Thank you.
You know, 6:30 this time of year is probably not an issue with the majority of spring.
Yeah.
By 6:30.
Yeah. I think I'll wait to do the screen share until after the student reports. With the agenda and all of that, I'll take that.
So quiet.
Yeah, and, the other thing is to do with that, it is a committee meeting, and it does need to be posted.
For some reason, you can get on
Agenda.
that.
Yeah, and I know that, it just, this one really got it, because we had said it when we were at the last meeting.
Oh,
in
okay.
March, And I think with the holidays, we just kind of sit through everybody.
Yeah.
You know, should we have postponed it? Yeah, but the other side, it really is hard.
Yeah, I think that is.
Go by statutory stuff.
Yeah. That's what I thought before.
Well, there's three board members present.
They're all quick, the thing about this is they realize that until it's that food. You said for the first meeting.
Yeah, so I don't lose my.
Yeah.
A little bit of, but I had to go get my COVID test
Oh, okay.
that morning, get home.
But they talk about where this came from. Basically, it all comes down to. But I mean, it really is, you could argue the other side. It really is.
Yeah, and in most of the, I think, it's probably gonna be an issue, but it could be an variance.
Right, and I think we've established that.
Yeah.
We're done.
And it doesn't have to be a essential agenda, it could be just some general, just some general things that are going to be talked about.
And we talked about that today. Sure.
March 2nd.
This one's just kind of different levels. 7 already, and holiday came through.
Thank you. I am going to start recording.
Well, Craig, I got 7:03, it's pretty fast, yeah, sorry about that, I'm looking at the clock up there, so. All right, I've got 7:03, so we're actually a couple minutes late here, so I'm gonna have to take a roll call, Director DePong,
Here.
Director Manicki,
Here.
Director Marcus.
Here.
Director Christian,
Here.
Director Trevillio,
Here.
Director Munter. Director Munter? Randy, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, Doctor, just take a roll call, we haven't called the meeting yet.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. So. And Director
Okay.
Ware.
Sorry about that, I was having a hard time getting.
Not a problem, so we do have all 7 directors present tonight, one coming in virtually, we can do this meeting virtual because we're still under the governor's peacetime emergency act. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please rise for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. I see some faces here again, and I don't know if we have anybody else remote or not, but welcome. So with that, moving on to the agenda. The agenda should be exactly what everybody got in their packets that was sent out. There might be a copy or two that's laying around that was just printed today that 10.2 is missing, but that is in the original agenda, and it is in everything that got sent, so there are no changes to the agenda. Be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, so I've got a motion by Director Trujillo, second by Director DePong to approve the agenda as presented. Does anybody oppose this motion? Does anybody oppose? If not, by unanimous consent, the agenda passes, the motion passes. Consent agenda, everybody should have time to look through that. Was there any questions or anything that needs to be pulled out separately on that? If not, be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And Matt, you did that? Okay, I will take a roll call on the consent because of the checks payable and stuff like that. So with that roll call vote, Director Trillo,
Yes.
Director DePong,
Yes.
Director Christian,
Yes.
Director Munter,
Yes.
Director Marcus,
Yes.
Director Manicki,
Yes.
and Director Ware, yes. So consent agenda passes unanimously. Public comments. Okay, does anybody have public comments? It is limited to what's on the agenda for tonight, and this will be your only opportunity to speak. Are there any public comments? Not, we'll move on to student staff reports. And I think we'll start tonight with Mr. Bushy. It's the elementary leadership team, is that correct?
Yeah, we have our student leader reps. We have Berkeley Landsberg, Nora Marcus, and I don't see Noah Martinson. So Berkeley, when we start your guys' report, can you take Noah's portion?
I don't know what Noah's was.
Okay, I'll go through that part. So, okay, so the first item, and this was, Noah was gonna present on this, is that they had an excursion over to the nursing home where they built snowmen, and we had pretty much all the student leaders that were present, and it was just a great activity for our residents to be able to see. They were looking out through the windows as the students were building the snowman, but also more importantly too, is a great experience for our kids. And Berkeley and Nora, I don't know if you have any comments in regards to the snowman making. Anything you'd like to add to that? Okay. Berkeley, I'll turn it over to you, buddy.
We last week was kindness week in our school, so we did a big kindness tree in the lunchroom, and if you saw somebody doing a kind act, you wrote it down on a paper heart.
So did you give the paper heart to them, or were they posted?
We cut out a bunch of paper hearts at the beginning of the week so they could just tape it on the tree like the leaves.
Great.
Do you have more for kindness week, Berkeley?
We did locker draw. Well, we did we drew posters for our lockers on demonstrating what kindness week was, and there was a reward for the winner of that. And each day there was a envelope in the back of each classroom, and the student leader for that classroom would grab a name out of there who did a kind act, and they would get a prize.
Berkeley, how did we end the week? What was given at the end of the week?
The reward for the poster drawing.
Yeah, and was there something that was for the lockers that was given to each student?
There was locker magnets.
Absolutely. So each student throughout the school received a kindness magnet that is placed on their locker with different sayings in regards to being kind. So it was a great week for the elementary and for the staff. There was a lot of love in the air, which was good.
Especially in that cold weather, you needed it.
Yes, yes, it distracted us from the cold week, that's for sure.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, Nora, your turn.
So within the past week or so,
student leaders were given these little cards that said random acts of kindness on them, and we used them to do random acts of kindness around the town of Fosston, like putting quarters on pop and vending machines and paying for people's paper at the putting money at the 13 towns to pay for someone's paper.
And one thing I'll add to that, Nora, they made a video showing all of their acts of kindness throughout the community. And I don't know if it was posted yet.
I have it ready
Oh.
to show,
Perfect.
if you want me to present it.
Yep, that would be a great time to do it.
Okay, I'm gonna present it. Hopefully it presents properly.
There they are.
Nora, are you still with us?
Okay.
I think you have one more item left, correct? Well, is there some things coming up that you guys are working on?
I'm not sure.
Art classes next week?
Yeah, we're doing a fundraiser where the high school art teacher is going to teach us to do some art, and then we're going to use that to make cards and stuff out of it to sell and make money for school.
Very good. So I would just like to thank our student leaders for all that they do, and all of our students on Mogelson. It was definitely a great week last week, and we have some exciting things, and it's a credit to these two student leaders along with all the others too. So they're doing a great job.
Yeah, and I think on behalf of the board, you guys, that's a great thing you did this week, and I think as the board, we should give her a round of applause.
Anything else, student leaders?
Okay, thank you. So, let's see, then we have a report from the 7th grade STAR team, correct, Mr. Crum?
Their advisor, Miss Bethke.
Yeah, hi. For those of you who don't know me, I am Sarah Beth Key. I'm the speech language pathology assistant, and this is my first year advising the 7th grade STAR group. And STAR stands for Student Teaching Attitudes of Respect. So it focuses a lot on learning about social emotional learning, and then they have the opportunity to teach that to younger kids. We have a beautiful group of 6 kids. I'm going to go ahead and present their picture if that's all right. Just one moment here. Okay. So there's our 6 group of wonderful kids who have been learning about social emotional learning and awareness. And some of them had prior obligations tonight, but luckily Lewis is here. So I'm going to let him kind of talk about the opportunity he had to teach the younger grades.
Yeah, we got to teach Mrs. Rude's 2nd grade, and it was really fun to get to just meet some of those kids and teach them, and they cooperated really well, and yeah, it was fun to teach them.
And Lewis, do you remember what kind of activity we did with them?
So we did certain brainstorming feelings and talking about uncomfortable and comfortable feelings, and stuff like how they felt that day. And the whole thing we did was so we could talk about feelings, and we did like a feeling Simon Says. We did we broke into groups and asked them to share different feelings, and they got a lot, which was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it went really well. The 2nd graders were a great group of students. They were very attentive, and my 7th graders did a great job keeping them engaged and getting them to talk about feelings and, comfortable versus uncomfortable, and how it's okay to have uncomfortable feelings and that kind of thing. So it was really nice.
Is this something that you'll go back and use with some of the other grades then?
This year it's been a little different with the COVID restrictions. And their STAR is a multi-school activity. And so we've been doing it all virtually this year. So it's been a little bit different. Normally what they would do is they would go to another school and teach another grade. However, again, with COVID restrictions, I'm quite certain that's not happening this year. So we may have the opportunity. I need to visit with the Peacemaker Resources, who is the head of the STAR program, about maybe another opportunity to teach in our school again, if that might be an option, and do another classroom. So yeah, but normally what they would do is they would switch and they would go to another school, and the other school would come to ours and teach. But again, it's a little bit more challenging to do something like that this year. So.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else to add. Do you have anything, Lewis?
Okay, well, thank you. We look
All
forward
right,
to
thank
hearing.
you guys so much for listening to our STAR presentation. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Student leaders could.
Yeah, Berkeley, you can sign out, buddy.
Thank you, Lewis. You can sign out too.
Thank you.
Okay, Randy is still with us? Director Munter?
Yeah.
So Nathan, we'll have you up with ICS.
Yeah. Give an update on
something? Okay.
Did you send everything?
No, just some
Okay.
verbal today. Update on a few things. The mock-up, the part 1 and part 2 of the epoxy floor have been approved. So that was first one was to look at the embedment of the flake. That was not approved. So we added another layer, and that one was approved. The next and final coat will be the aluminum oxide that goes on that adds the texture to the surface and some more of the strength to the surface. So that's going on Monday. Once that fully cures, it takes about 24 hours to cure the lock-on, 3 days to cure before, if you want to do any, maybe sitting in a chair and turning the chair or something, take a look at it, do that after 3 days of it curing up. And once that gets, assuming, so far it looks really good, people are happy with it, assuming that gets approved, we will meet with the construction committee one more time to talk through the dollars and how that's going to work as far as the next steps on actually getting it replaced.
Has everybody had an opportunity to go down and see it? I know it's been something other layers you wanted to go over before the meeting.
And the aluminum oxide adds, aluminum oxide also dulls it a little bit too. It adds the strength, the texture, and it dulls the glossiness of it. So, I did hear the installer was talking to Ron, I believe, and Ron wishes he had a super smooth rolling marbles floor. For what it's worth, I mean, I don't know, you do want some friction on there just so you're not slipping if someone spills water, but if you do want to listen to that, we might want to leave one room without or something. We can explore.
Yeah, we are considering that, but it's for certain labs, and it's currently goes in the hall for certain labs and stays in. So it's an adjustment we could make too.
And I think that's something you deal with construction committee or whatever, kind of how we decide with administration and stuff. They want to go.
Yeah. Once we get that mock-up, then we can make the call like, oh, a little bit more, a little bit less.
Yeah.
And go.
It looks nice. I mean, I saw it. I mean, I like the color mixture of it. Any questions for me?
An epoxy company is doing this one, whereas it was a painting company that Bradbury Stamp hired doing that. Which painter companies do epoxy floors too, but these guys specialty in epoxy floors.
Anything else?
Oh, I do have plenty of stuff. So the aluminum door mock-up, they took the doors, they are taking them to their shop. We did issue a 3-day letter on them. If you remember from the last board meeting, they were supposed to be doing the mock-up on Monday, on 15th, and they did not. So we actually issued a 3-day notice. If they don't perform any work within 3 days, it gives us, that's what we have to do, or not us, you guys have to, we have to issue that in order to select a different contractor to take their place. So we issued the 3-day letter, they performed the work. So now the 3-day letter sets some dates and timelines. So if those ones get missed, now we have an option to bring someone else in. The oddball with this one is they're not full steam ahead working for the next three weeks because we have to get the mock-up approved, and then they order all the parts for all your guys' doors. So it's if the mock-up gets approved, then we're waiting a 4 to 8 week period for the materials, and then it's a 1 to 2 week install, and we can push that install whenever it's convenient for you guys. By the way, the Old Castle Manufacturing Company is located in Texas. So that's for what it's worth. Yeah, that's just, when I came after him for 15th, that's what, like, it's weird. Okay. All right, so, the wood doors that were ordered, that was a change order, that's still mid-April. The light sconces are shipping on Monday, so that's the sconces portion, and then the bigger exterior lights that light up the entries, are shipping on March 3rd. So when I say shipping because it's shipped, so it's a week or so after that. Like a week or so. And that's it.
Any questions for Nathan? When that mock-up is done, Dave, you might know, or Grant, is the plan to have the oversight committee look at that? Kind of, or was it just, where were you going with that?
What's been done in the past, it's been, Sue's actually been coordinating, say, hey, it's done, and the construction committee members were coming in on their own time. Neil looked at it on his own time, the science teachers looked at it on their own time, Dominic, and everybody kind of looked at it all within a 1 or 2 day period, and then got back with the consensus.
Okay. And that's been working for you guys for construction? Okay.
Is there a hard date when they have to have that mock-up done?
The mock-up is, they did ask for the Monday the 22nd, but my 3-day letter actually has the 19th. But yeah, and when you do issue the 3-day letter, if they start working, it's kind of a weird one now because they have such a big gap period of waiting for materials. So they did actually start working once we issued the 3-day letter. They actually came a day early with what they were asking for. When we issued.
Anything else for Nathan? All right, well, thanks, Nathan, appreciate it. All right, with that, so for the 6-0 finance fund balance report.
Well, if you look at the actual fund balance, the one that's labeled fund balance, you can see that we have a little bit more in our fund balance for general fund than we did a month ago. Expenses are tracking kind of like we hoped they would. Our food service, you can see that that has gone down. The deficit has decreased there. We got some more payments in, and we are very hopeful that this year we will end again with an even balance in our food service, so that we don't have to transfer funding from one source to another. Community services hanging balances in there. We're doing fairly well. I've talked with Jo, and she's gone through things again and really looked at our expenditures. And again, we will be asking you to revise the budget again later once we have a really good handle on the expenditure parts. But you can see with our expenses, I like to track this percentage report, and within our expenses, we should be 50% or above at this point in the year, and we're just under with our general fund expenses, which would be things like salary. Our food service, we're at 34%, so we will definitely be able to reduce that budget. Community service, we're at 44% of our predicted expenditures. And then debt redemption, of course, is always going to be up at 100%. That's kind of out of our control. Revenue is tracking 57% of our general fund, which is about where we should be. We've received 45% of our food service fund, so that's a little under, but that has to do with how we send in our billing to the state, and so they're always about a month behind on that one. Community service, the revenue there is a little behind. Some of that is levy, some of that is fees, some of that has to do, that's where we pay our early childhood programming out of. So some of that is the reimbursement from the state. It's early learning scholarships that students get, and we bill the state, so there's a little delay there. But all in all, we're tracking well, and we will be, revising the budget as we get closer to May, and we have a really good handle on where the expenses are gonna come out. And, I'm feeling a little more positive about the budget than I was even 2 months ago. Legislatively, there's still a lot up in the air. We don't know if we're going to be, the governor has proposed an additional payment for the declining revenue that would, when combined with our declining enrollment payment that we will get, the two combined would be close to making up for some of that lost revenue with lost students that are homeschooling this year. But we don't quite know what the legislature is going to do. And so it's kind of a waiting game at this point. We will, as I've said before, we will have some significant funding coming in under ESSER 2. And we had some good news with that MDE realized that they had interpreted the parameters a little bit incorrectly, and so we are going to be able to use it to keep teachers employed. Earlier they had suggested that maybe that wouldn't be the case, that we would have to do some fancy footwork with that and lay people off and then hire them back. But we will not have to do that, and we will be able to use that to keep, just to try and see what's going to happen with our enrollment and get that stabilized. So, any questions?
Okay. No questions for Superintendent Chase? If not, we'll move on to our elementary principals report.
Yeah, thank you. Item number 1 is our enrollment. Total pre-K through 6th grade, you can see that we're pretty stable. We're at 336. We had some fluctuations with certain grades. But I will add this, just this week, we have 2 prior students who are coming back starting on Monday. They haven't been with us all year, so they're coming back. And then we have a family moving in, and they'll start March 1st. And that will bring in 2 more students to the elementary. So those are recently added students down at Mogelson. Any questions on enrollment?
Are the 2 coming back, Dan? Are they just ones that have been homeschooled, or?
Yeah.
And they're coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that we're just trying to figure out which grade that they're going to be coming back to. So we'll complete that. And like I said, we have a new family moving in. So that's good. We get a family in. Item number 2, again, most of you are aware that Fosston School District was named the 2020 Group of the Year from the Fosston Star Committee. So I'd like to put a shout out to our district and staffs in both buildings from top to bottom. Definitely well earned and deserved over the last year. So
I think they're,
Item number 3, or actually here, one more comment on our enrollment. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Just to bring you up to date on our distant learners. As of now, we have 11 distant learners at the elementary. 3 of those 11 moved out of district and are continuing distant learning through Fosston. So I look at it right now that we have 8 students, kindergarten through 6th grade, that are distant learning right now. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I think 4 of those 8 are kindergartners. So we're slowly getting those distant learners back in our building, and that's our goal. Once those families feel comfortable, hopefully we can get everybody back. So just wanted to bring everybody up to date on that. Item number 3, on February 10th, we had our parent-teacher virtual conferences. And we had, when I first put the data together, it was at 96%. I can tell you now because we had some that were contacted again and made up. So we're at 97% attendance for our parent-teacher conferences. Our virtual conferences have gone very well. And it's something that at the elementary level, we may consider as we move forward. There's nothing like face-to-face, but we definitely have we've always had high attendance, whether in person or virtual, but it's working out well. So Any questions on parent-teacher conferences?
Good job.
Okay. Item number 4 is our student of the month for January. In kindergarten, we had Dawson Mosier and Marie Williams. First grade, Isabella Perrine and Khaleesi Beckstrand. Second grade, Victor Rojas and Carson Agnes. Third grade, Cameron Agnes and Sophia Olson. Fourth grade, Amira Munter and Jana Garrison. Fifth grade, Lexi Elise and Hattie Guam. Sixth grade, Berkeley Landsberg. And you had a chance to visit with Berkeley from the student leaders, and Claire Klinkhammer. So I'd like to congratulate those students on the job that they're doing. Item number 5, we have our math masters. That, I don't know, how many years, Mr. Halber, have we been doing this?
I know that they did it a few years prior to when I arrived, but this will be my 6th year doing it.
Yeah.
With obviously last year we started practice, but the event was canceled.
Canceled due to COVID. So Mr. Halber is the advisor for that. We have our 6th grade team was announced, and that's Penelope Gilbertson, Colton Tyken, Reed Gutterud, Brooke Landsberg, and Nora Marcus. Great group of kids, and I know, Mr. Halber, if you want to comment on where you're at right now with everything and what you've been doing.
Yeah, so with just different COVID protocols, Math Masters just kind of changed their format. So normally we would go to Bemidji for the day, and we would compete at a regional site where there's close to 250 fifth graders and about 200 sixth graders that compete. They are not doing that. They switched to a complete virtual format, which is awesome because we'll have the opportunity to compete this year. So the students, the tentative plan is to compete March 5th. They would come to my room. It's a flex day Friday, so they would test with me in the morning. The highlight for the Math Master students is going out to McDonald's. So we're going to walk over to Dairy Queen so that they get a chance to eat out, and then we'll, depending on the situation, we'll either eat at Dairy Queen or eat in my room. We currently practice twice a week. They practice in my room for 30 minutes. Basically, practice consists of they take practice tests, and then we go through those and we kind of correct the questions. I tell the kids that getting a 4 out of 8 is very good. So these tests are extremely difficult. Typically, the kids that do well or place, they're getting 50 to 60% of the questions right. So they are not easy questions. They're very difficult. But we're in our 3rd week of practice now, and it's been going really, really well. I think the kids are just happy to get a chance to be able to practice and really looking forward to competing. And then I will run 5th grade after I run 6th grade. The reason behind that was it just with COVID protocols, it would eliminate close contact potential of with mixing of 5th and 6th graders. There's a 1 month window of testing for 6th grade in March, and then there's a 1 month testing window for 5th grade in April. So the plan is to get finished with 6th grade and then start 5th grade. Normally I do both grades combined, but with just some COVID stuff, we're limiting the number of kids that are exposing, and then that cross mixing of grades as much as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Halber.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Item number 6, upcoming events, March 8th through the 12th, and that's just around the corner here. We have our annual book fair. And this year's title or theme is Enchanted Forest. And we'll have further details coming out. Right now, obviously it's going to look different than it has in other years. There's a virtual portion to the book fair. And now we're just working on how to open it up after school hours and do it safely for parents to come in. So we're working with that right now with April Whedon, who's done a tremendous job with our book fair. So look for more information coming out. We have the date set, we have the theme. Now we're just going through all the logistics, but it will be open for our classes throughout that week during the school day. And we're just at the next phase of it, is trying to figure out how it could look like after school hours for our families. If we limit the amount of families, and then logistically, we just have to put things in place for that. So, but we are going to have it, and we're excited about it, and it's a great opportunity for kids and their families and community to come in. So, then I had a couple of things I don't have on my agenda, but I would like to big thank you all to all that and more, Dustin and Tyler and the Manahee family. We had a large donation of educational items from All That and More. So last Friday, you delivered on Thursday, wasn't that correct? I'm trying to get my days straight, but on Friday, we displayed it, all of the items, and then did an all-call with our teachers, and it was a fun time. They were very excited. A lot of those materials, all of them are gone. So they went right back to the classroom, right to the students. A big focus, or the primary group for that, was primary grades, some educational items. So big thank you out to Dustin and All That and More, and the whole family. So that happened last Friday. And then the last item I have, and it's part of the agenda, we have an opening for a para position at the elementary, and the high school does also. And Mr. Crump and I will be conducting a couple of interviews tomorrow for those positions. And we received an applicant late this afternoon, so it's good. We're getting some applicants in, and we'll look, hopefully, that we can fill those positions. So, any questions?
Any questions, Principal Bishop? No? All right, Dustin, on the board, thank you. And then please pass that on. Mr. Crump, Principal Crump.
All right, item number 1. This Tuesday, we had our parent-teacher conferences. Our virtual attendance was 33%, and we had 18% that were contacted via email for a 51% total. Those numbers are a little lower, but something to be considered when we're looking at that is they're not mandatory. When we had our 90+ attendance was our fall student-led conferences where the students led the conference. This was just an opportunity for our parents to reach out and connect with their teachers, and it was more if your child was struggling. So the low numbers here for me are a good sign, because it means not a lot of our kids were struggling, so they didn't need to make that contact with the teachers in there. But yet the opportunity was there, whether you were struggling or not, to reach out and connect with your teacher. Any questions on parent-teacher conferences? Next one, item number 2, our AAA award ceremony was February 3rd. And because of COVID this year, it was a Zoom meeting. There was over 100 attendees. The Fosston representatives were Cora Norland and Lance Ballstead. And in order to be a AAA award candidate, you have to be involved in academics, arts, and athletics. And I can tell you that Cora was runner-up in our subsection, and Lance was our subsection winner. So congratulations to both of them, and they were in our local paper. Thank you to Ed for 13 pounds, and we're working on getting some of those things in and on our Facebook page as well. Item number 3, Fosston Education Foundation. This year we've awarded 11 total grants for over $8,000 to our teachers. And it's varied from curriculum, electronic curriculum to supplement what we currently use. I know Eric Ockery just got an online geography that's through Brown University. And Nikki Gutteroot, who was just here, got some flexible seating. We also did those 5 early childhood and younger teachers that had the water damage that replaced their classroom libraries. Sarah Bethke and Amanda Wiener got some teletherapy webcams, and Winnell Miller had some distant learning games so we could pass things out for the kids to learn. And Nicole Halber also got some flexible seating. So lots of different things going on with the Fosston Education Foundation. Our next meeting will be in April, where we'll talk about scholarships. Item number 4, our graduation orders. We had the company come in, and the students were able to order tassels and caps and pieces like that. Our graduation date is again May 28th. It's at 7 p.m. and it's slated for our high school gymnasium. We are making several plans just in case, so we can roll out on that date. Our primary plan is going to be an on-site ceremony with limited number of spectators and students. But we have the plans are in the works for that. We're working with our students too, so they're involved in part of the process there. On our backup plan, is in some way, shape, or form, the seniors this year want to bring back the graduation parade, because they thought that was a big success and a lot of fun. So the class flower they've chosen is a sunflower. Their color is turquoise, and their motto is, "These so-called bleak times are necessary to go through in order to get to a much better place." Item number 5, registration.
Graduation, traditional graduation, I mean, as far as the ceremony there, if we can.
Yes, we're gonna opt for a traditional graduation with
diplomas walking up.
diplomas walking across. I know Sue will be disappointed, but we're trying to limit the speeches, so they'll have to be a little bit shorter. We're gonna try to have our graduation time, and typically the graduation ceremony, when we've done the traditional one, has been about an hour. So we're gonna kind of keep it within that window. The difference is we will probably not have the full band and choir, but we're gonna work to showcase our seniors with some small ensembles and individual performances perhaps. Any other questions on graduation? Item number 5 was registration for our school year for next year. We're in the process of finalizing some of our registration. We're still working with our students and our families. Counselor Hanson is on leave currently, so she's doing some work. Even though she's on leave, she's putting in a couple hours here and there. But she's working with Sandra in the office and myself and the families. We're about halfway through the changes, and so making sure everybody has the courses they need. I can tell you we've registered all of our online college and high school students, and those courses were accepted and they got in, and we'll be offering 4 college and high school courses next year. Composition, which will be, look at the freshman English, biology, algebra and trigonometry is the back half of that one, and Spanish. Any other questions on registration? Item number 6 was I had the opportunity to attend the MASSP Winter Conference. That's for my union. This year it was virtual. It was over 4 days at the tail end of January, and I was able to attend 10 sessions because they were in the afternoon and later evening. And it varied from legal updates to updates with the Minnesota High School League on protocol and performance, how to lead through a pandemic. There was a very good topic where student leaders, it was called Straight Talk with Student Leaders. Student council members and representatives from all over the state got together and told us what it was like to be educated during a pandemic. So on top of getting views from our Fosston students, which we've already done, I got to hear about how things were going across the state, and I'm proud to report that our school and our district has done a good job servicing our students. We've had a lot of opportunities that the metro area has not. Some of those kids hadn't set foot in a building all year, and that takes a toll on their social emotional learning as well as their academics. So that was a good session. A lot on self-reflection, courage, truth talking for cultural sensitivity and awareness, and a couple keynote speakers. Dr. Steven Soroka talked about being fearless in the face of adversity and how to deal with things during the pandemic. So a lot of good speakers and wonderful opportunities. I'd just like to thank the district for letting me go to those things, those opportunities, and learning a little bit more.
Thank you.
Last item is our enrollment. And you can see we've dipped just slightly from last month from 290 to 288. We had 2 students, 1 student that was in foster placement that was again, we're working hard. Currently, we have 23 distance learners, and we're hoping to reduce that number a little bit. As Dan said, our goal is to get them back in the building as soon as we can, as soon as they feel comfortable. And we're kind of talking about plans for the future, and how do we on some of these kids that are choosing online learning, you know, how do we look at that? What are we learning through the pandemic, and how can we offer different choices to our kids to keep enrollment and keep our numbers?
Any questions for Principal Crum? All right, thank you.
If you don't mind, excuse me, I'm just gonna go back to the basketball game.
Oh,
Sorry to bug out.
No, we're going right ahead. So, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you guys are doing. Okay, superintendent's report. Superintendent Chase.
Yes, I'm going to keep this brief, I promise. I wanted to update you on the vaccination status of our staff. We have, as of Friday, we will have 74 of our staff that will have the opportunity to schedule at least their first appointment. Some of our staff have already had both shots in the series. By March 19th, almost all of us should have received our second dose. And so if you remember, I think it was December, we talked about extending that the COVID leave that the federal government had initially required, that we would extend it until our staff had the opportunity to be fully vaccinated. So we are nearing that. I think by April 1st, we should be able to phase that out so that, and to support that, both CDC and now MDH has adopted some additional guidelines for quarantine, so that if you have your vaccine, both doses, and it's 2 weeks after that, you do not have to quarantine under exposure. So that will support that as well. As a piece of that, we found an opportunity to recoup at least some of the money that the COVID leave cost us in some taxes that we got a rebate on. We had to dig a little bit to find that we could do that. And it didn't amount to a lot of money, it was about 2,000 or so, but Tina dug diligently and found it. So I'm gonna thank Tina for doing that, because every penny counts. And then I met with the high school student council twice now, recently, to start setting up I'm calling it a student cabinet. Some of it will be members of student council, some of it will be members, other people other students in the district that want to have their voice heard. And I plan to start by having lunch with them once a month and just getting their input on their programming and how things are going. I think the first session I'm going to ask them some questions about their distance learning experience and how we can do things better. And you heard Mr. Crump mention that, this might be something that might impact our future in enrollment. There is something in the legislature, or coming up in the legislature, that might, if it's passed, might allow districts to continue to offer distance learning for families that want it, without having to go through the online learning process, because there is a process where a school can be appointed an online learning school. If the legislature allows that, then we as a district have to decide how that looks for us, what we want it to be, how we implement it in the best way possible. And it does give students and families different options, and if other districts in the area are offering it and we don't, we stand to take a hit. And we have situated ourselves well to do this with the technology that we purchased over the last year. So that's something that we need to be considering. We'll see what happens. And I think the rest of it, it's all about meetings and things. And you have the written report. Unless you have questions for me, I think
I have one for you. For the second round of the COVID shot, are we staggered with our people when they're going to receive it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's staggered, and a lot of them are being given on, we'll have maybe 5 or 10 people at a time, and a lot of them are being given on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, Friday.
I just heard that second one really reacts. It's going to be different for a lot of people.
The majority of ours have done Friday and Saturdays, so then they'll have the weekend to recoup and recover. One quick update, people that were supposed to go tomorrow and Saturday just got an email tonight that the shipment has been delayed, but they'll be contacted within 24 to 48 hours. They alternative arrangements.
Yes, I did get that email from one of our staff. So we'll have to monitor that, but yeah, they're staggered, and I've been checking in with people that have gotten their second dose. Some have no symptoms at all, and some have had some reactions, and it just varies, so.
Yeah, hopefully that goes well for everybody.
Yes, yes.
And then one just comment for the group too, Superintendent Chase has at the end there, with a lot of the legislative updates and things. And this is kind of a time, I know I've sent a few emails off too, but MSBA has just a kind of a rubber stamp thing to send into your senator or congressman or something. And I think, some of the couple of these bills that are forward, especially the House bills, addressing funding and that, I think as many of the small districts, people that they can hear from would be good things. So if you get time to look through it and see what you think. And we need to look at that as an action.
Yeah, and if I could piggyback on that, one of the things that I learned through this one, I think it was this one, there are 50 bills in the House and Senate right now that would increase mandates on schools. Things that we have to do, paperwork we have to file, reports that we have to do, that, and to specific classes that we might have to offer that would limit our students' choices, but 50 mandates. And those are things we need to be watching too, and MSBA will do a good job of sending information out to you about those, because the more mandates they put on without taking something off the table, the more difficult the job becomes, and for all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think Superintendent Chase. Okay. Now we will move on to 8.1, which are personnel items. And everybody should have seen both of the letters in the packet. I know Mr. Sims was this request of that. I don't remember when I went through, but we have two teachers that have requested early retirement, and we do need to acknowledge that so we can go forward or where we're going to go with that. We have this as a voting item, so.
We don't necessarily.
No, we don't, we just need to acknowledge it, so out of that, so publicly as a board, just be acknowledging it, and that is part of the reason we will go into a strategy session later with the closed session. We're talking. So 8.2, we have the licensed staff seniority list. I think everybody got a copy of that. I'm going to guess that all the staff is in agreement with the way that came out. The seniority seems to be out of that. So I'll be looking for a motion to either approve or not approve the final 2019-2020 licensed staff seniority list.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Director Trujillo, second by Director Christian to approve the final 2019-2020 licensed staff seniority list. Is there any other discussion? Okay, if not, we'll do a roll call vote. So Director Trujillo?
Yes.
Director DePong?
Yes.
Director Christian?
Yes.
Director Marcus?
Yes.
Director Manicki?
Yes.
Director Munter? Director Munter? You still with us, Brandy?
Yeah, I'm just having trouble figuring out my phone, but yes, I'm here.
You hear the motion? Director Munter?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha now. Did you hear the motion?
Yes. I'm sorry, I thought you heard me.
Vote, with your vote?
Yes.
Okay, and Director Ware, yes. So unanimously, the licensed seniority staff, the motion passes. So we have a request from the Fosston Education Association. It's just, this again is just an acknowledgement that they have presented us with a letter to start negotiations of the 2021-2023 contract. And this is part of the process by acknowledging this, and they have some certain information they would like from the district to provide to them. It's just normal start to the process, and it's nice, we did last year negotiations, we talked to them, and we thought if we can get this process going a little earlier, it's still gonna come down to towards, the end of fiscal before we can really close out a lot of things, because we just need to know where the numbers are, but at least we can have this discussion and start moving forward. So just want to acknowledge that we did receive that, and we'll be proceeding forward with it. So, 8.4, to approve or not approve hire of
Ryan Hanlon?
Okay, as the activities and transportation coordinator. We had a special meeting where we accepted the job description for this and put things together. There's a temporary appointment to Mr. Hanlon to that position, correct?
Yes.
And this would finalize that. So questions, anything for Superintendent Chase? If not, we're looking for a motion to either approve or not approve the hire of Ryan Hanlon as activities and transportation coordinator.
I'll move to approve the hiring of Ryan Hamlin.
Okay.
Second.
Have motion by Director DePong to approve the hire of Ryan Hamlin as activities and transportation coordinator. Any other discussion? You're gonna roll call vote with that. Second was Director. So with that roll call vote, Director Trujillo,
Yes.
Director DePong,
Yes.
Director Christian,
Yes.
Director Marcus,
Yes.
Director Manicki,
Yes.
Director Munter.
Yes.
Yes, so motion passes. Director Ryan Hamlin will be hired as the Activities and Transportation Coordinator. And we also have moving on to 8.5, resignation of an elementary paraeducator. And let's see, notice the letter was there in our packet.
Yes.
They're moving on to, sounds like a family's moving.
To Florida, yes.
Yeah, they didn't quite work with everything, so.
Yes.
And anything to add to that?
This is in the preschool program.
Okay.
As you heard, we have some applicants already. So.
Questions from the board on resignation? If not, be looking for a motion to either accept or not accept the resignation.
Motion to accept.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Director Trujillo, a second by Director Christian to accept the resignation of elementary paraeducator and Denise Huff?
Yeah.
Heft, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote then. Director Ware, yes. Director Munter,
Yes.
Director Manicki,
Yes.
Director Marcus,
Yes.
Director Christian,
Yes.
Director DePong,
Yes.
and Director Trujillo.
Yes.
Okay, so motion passes to accept the resignation with many thanks. Educational approve or not approve American Indian Parent Advisory Concurrence Resolution. I think everybody got a copy of this, and Angie, Mrs. Bushy sent out some other supporting information with this. Really, this is an annual requirement, if I remember. Do you have anything to elaborate on that?
Yes, and it comes about after the parent committee meets and agrees that we're doing what we said we were going to do, supporting and educating American Indian children. So, and the parent committee did agree that that's what we were doing, so.
Okay. So with that, I'll be looking for a motion to approve or not approve the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So I have a motion by Director Trujillo, second by Director DePong to approve the American Indian Parent Advisory Concurrence Resolution. Any other discussion? Okay, not. Roll call vote here again. So Director Marcus,
Yes.
Director Manicki,
Yes.
Director Munter,
Yes.
Trujillo,
Yes.
Director DePong,
Yes.
Director Christian,
Yes.
Director Ware, yes. So unanimously, the resolution is adopted. Okay, so 10.0, it has to do with the buildings across the street, and we've got a couple bid awards. I think everybody has that in their packets. One was from Hagen Construction and Trucking for building demolition and filling in the cistern for $3,200. And the other bid was from Lennis Sand and Gravel for demolition and closing existing cistern for $5,400. So the low bid on that would be Hagen Construction and Trucking Corporation. Superintendent Chase, do you have any information to add to this, or what?
We had a couple questions that we clarified with Mr. Hagan, and the bids are for comparable services. And in this instance, it makes sense to me that we go with the low bidder.
Questions, anything with the discussion? All right.
What's the time frame for
It has to be done before May 31st.
31st?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, we're looking for a motion to award the demolition of structure and closure of cistern at the 204 Italy Avenue North location to the low bidder of Hagen Construction and Trucking Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
So I have a motion by Director DeFong, second by Director Trulio to award the demolition of structure and closure of cistern at 204 Italy Avenue North to Hagen Construction and Trucking Incorporated. Any other discussion? Not, roll call vote. Director Manicki,
Yes.
Director Munter,
Yes.
Director Christian,
Yes.
Director DeFong,
Yes.
Director Marcus,
Yes.
Director Ware, yes. Director Trujillo,
Yes.
yes. Okay, so that is unanimous vote that the award will go to Hagen Construction and Trucking Incorporated. All right. 10.2, and that is the purchase of the roller shades. And I will allow Superintendent Chase to discuss this, and I think there's probably something from committee too, I'm not sure.
Yes, we did. As part of the project, we realized that we didn't include window coverings in the initial work that we were looking at, but they are necessary in order for teachers to teach, especially with the screens and things like that. We wanted something that was heavy duty and that would last a long time and also look good. We asked Anderson Fabrics to come in and take a look and give us a couple of options. They did, and the roller shades using this fabric, and send that around, were the preferred option. We looked at vertical blinds as well. The roller shades will clean better, they will last longer. They have some of their, like the roller parts of them, the internal parts are heavy duty, and they have a full lifetime warranty. Just convenience and all of those things. So they gave us the quote for that. We waited, I needed to wait till I saw what other costs we would have, make sure we had enough money to do this. But we do have money left in our bond account. We ended up earning about $114,000 interest on it over the life of the bonds, and we still have some FF&E money, so we have the money to cover it. I brought it to the oversight committee, and they basically felt that we should go with the product that was the desired product, the one that staff preferred, the one that would give us the longer lifetime use, that would be easier for cleaning, and that was the roller shades. So the cost of these will be $86,700, and that's to do all the windows in both buildings except our office. We didn't, but anyway, all the windows in both buildings, and that includes the installation. And she said I got information about the warranty. They do have the mechanical parts have a lifetime warranty. So unless we sell the school to somebody else, we have a lifetime warranty. So I'm asking that you approve this purchase because it's obviously outside of my spending limit.
So, questions from the board about this?
One I've got to ask because I do work with Anderson Fabrics for my regular work too. Were there any other bids considered?
You know, I didn't request bids from other places. I have a relationship, I mean, not a personal relationship, but I've worked with Anderson Fabrics before in my previous district, and I was very satisfied with the product. And at that point, I wanted a ballpark figure, so.
Sure. Yep. And like you said, it was brought to the oversight committee with Director Dupont and Director Trujillo to review and bid.
And oversight your discussion? I mean,
Yeah, pretty much followed what Sue had said. A little better product as far as cleaning and maintenance. Neil, we asked his opinion. He was very much in favor of the roller shades and figured it was the staff's choice. I mean, a little more money we know than some of the other options, but I think in the long run it'll probably end up working the best. So.
Other questions or concerns? I mean, because this is a direct buy, you know, out of that, it's very comfortable, you know, I mean, that's just, if you have questions about it, now's the time to ask. So, with that. Scott, did that answer, Director Christian, that answer your question? And so with that, okay, so if there's no other questions about it, and everybody's seen the sample, and it sounds like staff, Neil, a lot of people are in agreement that's the product that we want to go with. Be either looking for a motion to approve or not approve the purchase.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so a motion to approve by Director Trujillo, second by Director Marcus, to approve the purchase of roller shades from Anderson Fabrics for both buildings. What was it all about? Or you don't have a firm?
I do 86,000. 700.
Do we want that in the motion? I guess that's the question. Do you see that changing?
It shouldn't, but
Director Trujillo, you made the motion. What's your feeling on that?
It shouldn't change, but if it does even just a little bit, maybe we should leave the money amount out,
Okay.
just in case it's down a little or up just a little. I wouldn't see it's changing significantly, but we don't want to lock it tight.
So that motion would stand to just purchase, to approve the purchase of, from Anderson Fabrics for both buildings. Director Marcus, you had second that, or are you comfortable with that still? Okay, so that is our motion. Any other discussion?
Just to say that the roller blinds, one thing that really, I saw as a big advantage to them is that you can adjust your height down. And it's full blockage for however far you pull it down, so it works very well with the computer screens and everything we're using now. So it looks like a really good deal.
Versus the vertical blinds, which tend to move around and clack and make noise and distract. And also when we have smaller windows, vertical blinds on a 39-inch or 42-inch window don't work as well as a roller shade you can set.
Any other questions? Okay with that. So just a reminder again, the motion is to approve the purchase of roller shades from Anderson Fabrics for both school buildings. Motion made by Director Trujillo, second by Director Marcus. So roll call vote. Director Munter.
Yes.
Director Marcus.
yes.
Director DePong.
Yes.
Director Manicki.
Yes.
Director Christian.
Yes.
Director Ware. Yes. Director Trujillo.
Yes.
Okay, so with that 7 votes, unanimous, motion passes. So that kind of concludes most of our business for this part of the meeting. Committee reports. Were there any other committees? Anybody have anything to report? We did have a meet confirmed before this meeting. It went very well, very short meeting, which is a good thing, a good sign. I mean, it's communication is happening between our district employees and her staff and administration and that. They did talk a little bit about the parent-teacher conferences and conferences. Elementary was very happy with how it went, even with the high school. They did make the comment that they understand the situations this year about, having to have people come in on this Google, Meets or whatever, or they use phone calls and, they do, there were some things to, get over a little bit, but especially the phone calls, as far as you can't read body language or understand how to explain things, but overall, very happy with it. They wouldn't, like to maybe keep all the options on the table. They do like the in-person, but there was some benefits of having phone and Google Meets. And there was a couple other things, but I will discuss that later. But overall, very positive. Would you agree?
Yes, very good.
All right. So our next regular meeting is going to be scheduled March 18th, 2021, 7 p.m. at the high school. And we'll plan on being in the media center. I think we'll probably meet here for the rest of the year. Now, whether it's a remote meeting or not will kind of depend on where the governor's orders come in at that point. So, if there's no other committee reports or anything else like that, we will look at entering into a closed meeting for discussion strategy discuss the early retirement. I will need a motion and a roll call vote on this. So closed session.
Move to enter in the closed session.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Director DePong and second by Director Christian to move the meeting into a closed session. Roll call vote on this. Director Christian?
Yes.
Director Marcus?
Yes.
Director Munter?
Yes.
Director DePong?
Yes.
Director Manicki?
Yes.
Director Trilio?
Yes.
Director Ware? Yes. So we do have a unanimous vote, so therefore we will move the meeting into a closed session at 8:15, sorry for military time. Okay.